you, Sadiq Khan. I'm sorry for my language, but I am so angry. Youth clubs? That's your solution? Seriously, fuck you, Khan. None in and all out. That is now the only solution for the majority of British patriots as our country is invaded by terrorists, by murderers, by rapists, by child traffickers, by drug pushers on a daily basis. And we all see how that means we are no longer safe on the streets. Last night in Northern Ireland, proof that Britain is on the brink as the Stop the Boats effigy bonfire went ahead despite police launching a hate crime investigation. And there is a very clear message here, right? We've had enough. We've had enough of your two-tier rules where it's apparently fine to burn effigies of white men like Nigel Trump and Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, but not our criminal invaders. We're sick of that two-tier approach. And I think it's just worth taking a look, actually, at the moment that effigy did go up in flames. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos. Now, as Katie Hopkins posted on that, a handy reminder that bonfire effigies have been around for a very long time. I was a massive epileptic at this time. I wished the organisers well and promoted the events. Stop policing speech. Stop policing thoughts. Quit stealing our freedoms. Stop trying to ban stuff that offends you. Just be offended. It's okay. It's your offence. Sit with it. Own it. Let it make you rage. Eat it. Shove it up your ass. Whatever. It is yours. But look, what's most disgusting to me, indeed it's completely deplorable, actually, is that our elite class care more about that effigy than they do about the actual slaughter of a young man. And they continue to live in willfully blind ignorance that the disgusting death of Blue Stevens, a 26-year-old father, outside a Knightsbridge hotel and casino on a balmy summer night in London this week, is almost directly connected to this ongoing invasion. Now, Sadiq Khan, he is a truly evil man. Because he has destroyed the world's greatest city, or sadly, the world's former greatest city, in just a decade. And how was he rewarded by Slippery Starmer? With a goddamn knighthood. That is why we are now a joke society. And trust me, I know from bitter personal experience as a citizen of London that if you step out on the streets with a phone in your hand, you will be mugged. But now, if you step out with an expensive watch on your wrist, you'll be killed. That is a third world state of affairs. And I refuse to normalize it like the corrupt and crooked MSM have. I'm also totally disgusted, if not surprised, by Khan's muted response. Do you remember that man's utter hysteria about the death of a criminal called George Floyd half the world away? But when it came to Blue Stevens, he pretty much shrugged his shoulders. Like, this is all he posted. He didn't even name him. He posted, "Too many lives have been lost to violent crime in our city. That's why City Hall is funding community-led initiatives, youth clubs, and early intervention programs to give young Londoners hope. Prevention saves lives." Fuck you, Sadiq Khan. I'm sorry for my language, but I am so angry. Youth clubs? That's your solution? Seriously, fuck you, Khan. And then you're not going to believe it, because within hours, he was back to posting normally about funding the shockingly violent Notting Hill Carnival where 2 innocents were bludgeoned to death last year so it can continue. He wrote, I promise you, this was just hours after what happened to Blue Stevens. He wrote, Notting Hill Carnival has lit up our streets for nearly 60 years, becoming one of the world's biggest and most important street festivals. I'm proud to step forward with RBKC and City of Westminster to provide extra funding to ensure Notting Hill Carnival can go ahead this summer. Huh. So what he's actually doing is funding more murders and more violence. The death of Blue has horrified actual patriots. This is one of these crimes that has really resonated across the country. Rupert Lowe declared Khan as absolutely destroying London. And Nigel Farage posted, London is in a state of collapse. Crime is out of control. And I want you to watch now this fascinating and disturbing exchange Farage had on his GB News show last night about this very topic with the business and finance broadcaster Michael Wilson.
Same with people leaping over ticket barriers and the rest of it, which I personally would not get involved because I'd probably get beaten up. And I think similar towards it. The other thing is, I feel so sorry for him and and the family and all the rest of it. It's very, very tragic. But at the same time, do not be ostentatious about jewellery in London. It's just not.
The very thought you've just said that a woman can't walk down the King's Road.
No.
Wearing a nice necklace.
No.
The fact we've
a ring,
a
ring it reversed.
But it's a terrible thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's true.
But it's kind of giving up, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I think it's all pretty bleak and pretty grim, and I'm really worried about it. Can you see it turning around?
I really hope so, but it's been happening for a long time, so I think it's going to take a long time to fix as well.
Yeah, London needs a Giuliani. The country does, I believe.
So I do sense a change of mood in the air, and platitudes are no longer good enough. And thank God, a lot of the responses to what happened to Blue Stevens have heartened me, because I feel like, okay, at least other people get what I'm feeling, I guess. So I want to share some of them with you. Basil the Great posted, the man stabbed to death by a masked thug attempting to steal his Rolex outside a hotel in London has been identified as Blue Stevens, a father from Hampshire. He was killed after trying to fight off the thief in front of his partner. Sadiq Khan literally has blood on his hands. From Chris Rose, exactly 1 month since Sadiq Khan received his knighthood, Blue Stevens, a father aged 24, gets stabbed to death in high-end Knightsbridge as he attempted to keep hold of his Rolex watch. Remember, knife offences happen every 37 minutes in London under Sadiq's watch. And I just want to say on that, actually, it happens much more. Because, trust me, people just don't report violent crime in London anymore. They just do not report it, because what's the point? What's the point? The police don't even do anything. The only reason a violent crime is now reported is if the insurance company needs a crime number. That is it. Spencer Morgan posted, enough now. Caught carrying a knife, get 20 years minimum. Death penalty in incidents like this. All forms of face coverings banned on the streets. Massively tighten immigration policy. Time to get a grip. It really is. Couldn't agree more, Spencer. And Thomas Skinner, who is, by some accounts, a potential favourite to take on Sadiq Khan or whoever Labour puts up at the next mayoral election, wrote, "This is heartbreaking. A young man in the prime of his life stabbed to death in one of the wealthiest parts of London simply for wearing a nice watch. What sort of country are we living in when you can't even enjoy the things you've worked so hard for without fearing for your life? Most of us graft, day in, day out, building our lives, chasing our dreams, trying to provide for our families. And yet we're now in a place where people would rather take what you've earned than earn it themselves. The gap between rich and poor in the UK is wider than ever. People are struggling to eat, and desperation is turning into violence. This isn't just about theft. It's about broken systems, broken opportunities, and a society that's lost its way. We need stronger policing, yes, but we also need real leadership, real change, and support for the communities that have been left behind. No one should be afraid to walk down the street wearing a watch or driving a nice car. We need to take our country back, make it safe, make it fair, and make it proud again. R.I.P. to the young man who lost his life. My thoughts are with his family. Something has to change. Bosh. But for me, this completely preventable tragedy brings me back to one phrase that no one in the political class is even prepared to utter because they can't even countenance the prospect of deporting actual criminals from our country, no matter what, no excuses. So I will say it again. None in, all out. Now, Rob Moore is here. But first, if you're anything like me, you've spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realise you've been neglecting the skin on your neck. But as I've got older, I know that's a massive oversight because the neck is on display all the time, yet lots of folk just treat it as an afterthought in their routine. And I know I'd fallen into that trap. And what's been interesting actually is since starting this campaign with Go Pure, I've spoken to many in our Outspoken audience, many women who tell me that they know the skin on their neck is thinner, more delicate and less oily than facial skin, and they need specialized care, but they just don't know where to get it from. And so I have to say, that is why Go Pure is the answer. It is an absolutely beautiful product. This is the Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, and it's transforming the lives and necks of women and some men too, all across the globe. So let me tell you about this gorgeous product because I saw a noticeable difference within just weeks. Oh, and by the way, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure if you use the code DAN, that's D-A-N, at checkout today. So just head to gopure.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. But what's so amazing about Go Pure is that its proprietary firming complex is actually designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple, 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, plus with over 1 million jars sold. I don't think you can say this is a beauty secret anymore, right? Because it's not a secret, if you get what I'm saying. So, tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine shouldn't stop at your jawline. And for that limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopure.com/Dan, use the code DAN, and you are all set. Quick favor too, after you buy, when they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, make sure you tell them it was after watching Outspoken. But now, back to the show. Rob, look, every now and then, there are crimes that I think really resonate because they touch on something that we're all feeling, a fear that we're all feeling. This person could be our brother or our best mate or our son. And it was just like with Southport last year and that massacre when we thought about those 3 beautiful young girls bludgeoned to death by Axel Rudagabana. I think the death of Blue Stevens is in some ways just as shocking because it's so mundane. It's so mundane. Wear a Rolex watch now in London and you could well be killed for it. And does this not just show the decline of the United Kingdom, Rob?
Yeah, Dan. So I've been doing my research, not that you need to, because you just need to talk to people who are leaving the UK every week for Dubai because there isn't crime there. In Dubai, you can take your Rolex off, you can put it on the table, you can accidentally leave it there and someone will come and give it back to you. And in the UK, they're killing you for it. It's ridiculous. But there's been an 80% rise in knife crime in London since 2019. Violent crime is up 33%. Sexual offences are up 53%. There's been 1/3 less funding for the police. And what Nigel said there about the Giuliani approach, I don't think maybe people don't understand, Mayor Giuliani's approach. 0 tolerance. So if you steal a sandwich at Costa, you need to be arrested and you need to be convicted. And in the UK, the police will waive any theft under £200. So you steal something for £190 and it's legal. So theft is now legal in the UK. And people don't start by killing people for Rolexes. They start by petty theft. So in London, if we want to keep our people, we need to stop crime at the grassroots, and any crime needs to be taken seriously, and people need to be convicted of all crimes. Because what's next?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And raising Giuliani makes a lot of sense to me because it was his approach in New York that saved that city. And of course, it required a Republican to do it. I mean, Boris Johnson actually did a very good job in London, a very, very good job. And it does show you actually that political leadership can make all the difference. And when you think about Khan, right, it does show you his priorities, doesn't it, Rob? Because I heard him talk so much about George Floyd. Do you remember that in 2020? He was obsessed with this dude, George Floyd, and he was obsessed with all of the social unrest and disharmony that it brought to our United Kingdom, even though it wasn't our issue. Yet I bet we never hear him utter the words, Blue Stevens. He didn't do so in his post on X. And I think it tells you something about what I actually believe, I really do, Rob, is also anti-white racism. I think the fact that this is a white, straight man means Sadiq Khan cares a lot less. Because what else could explain him within hours of the brutal death of Blue Stevens, Khan announcing the fact that he's funding the Notting Hill Carnival to continue that carnage? It's just so deeply insensitive, but I think it's purposeful. I think this shows you what his priorities really are.
Well, I thought that tweet was highly disrespectful. There was no acknowledgement of the person and his family. And to say that youth clubs are the solution to murder on the streets of London is ridiculous on another level. Look, I'm not a politician. I don't know him. I don't know if this is racially motivated. But yeah, it's been pushed under the rug. If it weren't for you mentioning his name, Dan, I bet 95% of people wouldn't have even known his name.
100%. I mean, look, all I would say is that if this had, well, actually, look, let's wait for the events. Let's wait for the events here. We will wait for the events. But I mean, I literally have looked at some of the tributes from Blue Stevens' friends and family. I mean, they're utterly, utterly heartbreaking. A woman believed to be his mother wrote on a card, "Please, I want him back." Another believed to be his cousin wrote, "This is heartbreaking. Rest in peace, young Blue. This ain't fair for a watch." And in front of his family and friends, "My heart goes out to my cousins and I'm always here if you need me. Just want to add, if you carry a knife, it don't make you a big man. It makes you a coward and shows how weak you are. And a young life has been taken before his time. When will this stop?" And no arrests have been made. So at this point, the person who killed Blue Stevens is on the loose. I mean, to me, this should be a story that stuns the country. It should be a story that leads the MSM. And I think what has happened is that it does stun people who know about it. But as you say, Rob, there's almost like this deliberate cover-up attempt. They do not want to talk about it. It's so much easier for him to talk about George Floyd than it is Blue Stevens. I think it proves so much. But just think for one moment, this guy was killed, brutally stabbed to death for his Rolex watch in front of all of his friends, his family members, his partner. They are going to be traumatized for life. We cannot normalize this. I refuse to normalize this. We must talk about it. And shame on the mainstream media. This story didn't even rate a mention, as far as I could tell, on the British Bashing Corporation or Woke ITV last night. That is shameful. And instead, what are they up in arms about, Rob? Oh, the effigy. The effigy. Now, they've never given a damn, as far as I can tell, about Nigel Farage going up in flames, about Boris Johnson going up in flames, about Katie Hopkins going up in flames. They don't give a damn about that. But all of a sudden, when it's faceless criminals, because they are criminals, Rob, entering our country illegally like that, the left think this is a hate crime and that it should be investigated.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like our priorities in this country are completely wrong. It seems like it's all about optics, you know, for the left, and not actually about dealing with our real issues in this country. And immigration is a real issue. And the rape gangs are a real issue, and they're just getting brushed under the carpet. And Dan, I'm as gobsmacked as you are. I don't even really know what to say. But how can the murder of a young father, aged 25, in, by the way, one of the best areas of London, that's just down the road. I've stayed in that hotel, Dan. I've spoken in the hotel opposite. Harrods is just down the road. If there's somewhere in the UK you think you should be safe, it's there. And, you know, if someone has worked hard and can own a Rolex and you know, make a good living, then they've paid their taxes and they've contributed to society, and you want to be safe and you go somewhere where you think you are safe, and you're knifed and you're murdered, and then there's no news about it. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I don't have the answers, Dan. I wish I did.
I know. It's utterly, utterly terrifying. And actually, I said it on the show last night, I was literally having dinner just down the road. Literally just down the road. On that exact night, having no idea that Blue Stevens was being stabbed to death a couple of 100 meters away. It sickens me. It absolutely sickens me. And it's not actually because it could be me. It's because it could be my friend. It could be my family member. It could be my partner. That is what should terrify everyone.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.